Kiddos Corral, and I am going to show you how I make my so loved salmon patties. The first thing you're going to need is 2 cans of pink salmon. Now I am serving 3 teenage boys, so yes, I'm using 2 cans, but if you want to only use 1, you can if you're only serving a couple people. But I buy the cheapest pink salmon in a can that I can find, and I think these were $2.49 a can, which breaks my heart because I can remember a time when pink salmon was like the cheap thing. You know, you could get it at the Dollar Tree. It was the cheap thing. It's what everybody you know, made when I was growing up because it wasn't expensive. So I'm going to show you guys how I take care of my salmon here. First thing I do is open the can and I drain it real good in the sink like I'm doing now. I know you can't see that part. And then I plop it out whole in this bowl, as you can see here. Now I take my hands and I pull this salmon apart. Now, some of you might think this is kind of gross, but the reason why you're doing this is because sometimes there is a little scale of bones in the middle of the can, usually. And I take those out. Now, my grandmother, I don't think she ever took them out. I think that we ate it because they're small bones. See, here they are. It's a whole strip of bones that's in the middle of your salmon. And you just want to pull it out. I just throw it back into the can and discard it. It's not a big deal. You just want to make sure that you get it all because when I'm serving this to my kids, take the bones out because you know you don't want any kids choking. So I just kind of take my fingers, kind of press through the salmon just a bit, just to make sure that, you know, the bones are gone. And I think I got them pretty good. Yeah. And there's my salmon. Now I'm going to wash my hands off and do the next can. Hopefully my dogs don't bark. I noticed them running to the window here, like somebody's here, but nobody's here. And I've had a little squirrel that is been visiting me here lately, and I have been leaving peanuts outside, so he comes to the window to see me. He's really cute. And my husband named him Moocher because he says he's mooching off me because he's stealing from the bird feeders out front of the house. So this is the second can, and I want to separate this salmon the same way. You can see the bones right there. And I just take my hands and pull it out, and see right there, that's a whole string of bones. And you just want to make sure that you get it all. Some people might think this is a little yucky. But honestly, you just get in there and you take care of it. And you just discard it. It's not a big deal. I just want to make sure I get all the bones out. Some cans can sometimes have twice as many bones, and some cans don't have any bones at all. And you're like, what happened to all the bones? But usually I find at least one little bit of bones in the can, you know, because of the way they process it. I'm not real sure about all of the details in that. Okay, so got that done. And that's the hard part. That is the hardest part you got. I'm going to wash this off my hands real good. And you certainly could put on a pair of gloves. I know a lot of people, you know, combine meat with gloves on. I am using all natural organic eggs. These are brown ones and I love them. And people are like, oh, you can't tell the difference. Yes, you can. An organic egg is 10 times better than your average egg that you get at the grocery store. Okay, so I just add an egg. I want to make sure that that's broken up in there. And then I add a half of container. Let me see if I can read how much is in here. It says it's 15 ounces, so I use half of it. You can use traditional or you can use Italian style breadcrumbs. I just bought the traditional. It was on sale. It was what they had. I bought it at Kroger. I use about a half. Yeah, of this. And this is going to help your patties stick together because you don't want them to fall all apart. You want them to stick together nicely. And combine all that good and together. Now, if you feel like you have added too much breadcrumb, you can add another egg to this. It will add just enough moisture. It won't hurt it. It won't change anything. And then just add a little bit of salt and pepper, which I'm going to do next. But in the meantime, I'm going to get my large skillet and I'm going to put it on medium heat. And I want my, I'm going to use vegetable oil. But if you don't want to use vegetable oil and you want to use canola, corn, you know, any kind of oil you want, but I'm just going to use what I have. And I'm going to do what they call a shallow frying. So I just put just enough oil on the bottom of this pan just so that it's shallow frying these. You don't want to over oil these things. So I'm going to add my salt and pepper to this. And I'm going to come back as soon as my pan gets good and hot, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, we are back, and all I'm doing now is my grease is pretty hot, and now I am just taking the mixture and I'm just combining it into patties, just like this. I'm going to put one there in the middle. I'm going to scoot this over. Be careful not to burn yourself. Please don't write me and say, I ended up in the ER from the grease. Oh. Believe me, I have been burned so many times making candy and everything. I don't wish it on anybody. It is awful. My husband says, keep the knives away from Heidi. I know chefs that are like, prone to cut themselves all the time, and I am prone to burn myself or cut myself, one or the other. So I got two awful things that can happen to me. Alright, so I'm just going to rinse my hands real good, or well, wash my hands real good with soap, and there we go. And I'm going to show you what my secret is to making these salmon patties my kids' favorite. So I'm going to get a big spoon here. And what I do is I have, you don't have to have a large can like I do, or a large jar like I do, but I buy the jalapeno slices, and these are hot. These are like where they put on top of nachos and stuff. And they are really good. So, what I do is I get in here and I get some of these jalapenos with the juice, and I put it in there around these. And that is when you start cranking up the heat right there. And I'm going to turn it down, because those juices get in there and it really makes this start popping. Now, if you don't like it spicy, don't add the peppers to it, but this is the way my family and I love it. I get some of the juice down there around the patties. Oh, that's smelling really good. So I cook this about I want to say, you know, till they're good and brown on one side, and then flip them. And it's probably a total of 15 minutes probably altogether frying it. So I just kind of work the grease around a little bit just to make sure they're all evenly getting brown. And so I will show you what these look like when I flip them, and that shouldn't be very long. I just flipped these, and I use tongs when I flip them, and I like mine really super brown. And you're gonna think, oh my goodness, those are, I'm not really sure how the camera showed it, but they kind of look like they're burnt, but they are not. That is the way I like them. You can cook them to your desired color that you like. I'm going to cook these probably for another 10 minutes on the other side. So I did like 10 minutes on one side, and I'm doing 10 minutes on the other side. And they should be, woo, kind of jumped. They should be good to go. These are excellent. If you're curious of how I serve these, I just serve these alone with some of the peppers and the juice over top. I'm serving, tonight we're having some steamed broccoli, which I have on my stove over here next to the salmon patties. And in my crock pot, I have baked potatoes. Now, if you're not familiar with making your baked potatoes in the crock pot, it's really easy. You turn your crock pot on high, you wash your potatoes, you drizzle a little bit of olive oil all over the potatoes, you sprinkle them with sea salt. I use this Kirkland brand sea salt. And you put the lid on it, and that is it, and you let that cook for, I think my potatoes have been in there for about 4 or 5 hours. Sometimes I'll come back, if a fork inserted into the potato appears that the potato is done, I'll just turn my crock pot on warm, and I'll let them sit in there and stay warm until we're ready to eat, or until my family's home, or one of my children are home from work, however it works. And so anyways, that is how I make my salmon patties. And as soon as these get completely, you know, finished, I will put them on a plate and show you what they look like. Hey guys, I wanted to show you guys the finished product. And here it is. You can see how brown it is with the peppers and everything. And it is wonderful. My kids come running in here, Mom, are you making salmon patties? I said, yeah, I am. We haven't had that forever. And yeah, we haven't. It is so yummy. So I hope you all enjoyed this Sunday Simple Supper, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Bye-bye.